This is the Sluggo, slant and go.
College football expert Joel Klatt. Tell America the name of your favorite podcast.
It's called Sluggo.
Casey, the Beef Cregan, Zach Locks Parker. It's Wednesday, and here we are making horrible picks. Well, speaking for myself, we can't speak for Casey. Casey, for everybody out there, all 7 of you, 11. Casey promised us Saturday if he won all 3, when it looked like it was trending that way, he was going to be insufferable.
Literally.
And he has not disappointed either on the text machine or on the screen. Undefeated, perfect record, not only on Sluggo, but on Rubbing the Rock. Beef was 2-0, a perfect beef week. Prime beef. You guys think for yourself.
It was crazy. It was unbelievable, really, especially after having 2 wins on the season through 5-6 weeks by now. 2 wins, 6 weeks, 2-12 to go 5-12. We're not going to discuss the record. We're just going to discuss 3-0. So it was awesome. It was cool, and all my games were done by 3:30. So it was. I was in the bag, so I could be insufferable early and often. But that's all I meant. I was going to have a shirt. I'm not really insufferable.
Congratulations. Congrats. You deserve every bit of it, but your wins are now tied with the amount of losses that I have. Well done.
Well, that's not funny because that means my wins are tied with you.
I wasn't going to say anything, Marty, because you're kind of down in the dumps.
Yeah, you didn't go 3-0 last week, so he's going to kick me while I'm up.
Here's this week's about Casey. This week is about Casey. Hey, Kevin, thanks for checking in.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because Casey, as he said, his games were over early, and we could see it, right? We saw it happen. We were like, Beef, you're going to go 3-0. And then about an hour later, I realized, hey, I'm going to go 0-3.
Didn't take long.
And that left Zach pulling for Kentucky, and that didn't work out so well.
Nope. Unbelievable.
But still, 2-1 record. I'd kill for 2. I'd kill for 1-2. The last 3 weeks, 2, 0, 7, and 2. Can anybody tie that record? Not very good from yours truly over the last 3 weeks. We'll see if we can get a win this week in a little while. Fellas, got bad news. We dropped in Norway and Denmark. We have number 83 in Norway, number 88 in Denmark. So could you guys pick it up a little bit this week? We're disappointing the Norwegians and Danish. Hey.
Yes.
We'll try and pick it up for the folks overseas. And by overseas, I mean LA. Hey, last week, Clemson got off to another slow start against Boston College, but picked it up in the middle 8. I think that was at least the second or third week in a row that killed in the middle 8, scored right before the half, then came out of the half, stopped the opponent, and scored themselves real quick. Game was pretty much over after that. We knew Boston College was going to have a hard time scoring with that offensive line. Yikes. And it just really wasn't a contest in the second half. Beef, any major takeaways from last week besides Xavier Thomas, one ACC player of the week with 6 snaps?
Yeah, that was crazy. But he got to the quarterback 2 times, forced a fumble. He was electric in his 6 snaps. He did say in an interview this week that he's not going to have a snap count this week. So it's going to be all the talk is a lot of the defensive side of the ball will be healthy this week, which will be something brand new. We came into the season lauding all these guys about how great they're going to be, how professional level they were going to be on defense, and we haven't really seen it yet. Obviously, there was some leaky times in a couple 3 games already. Really kind of shorted up last week. I was a little nervous with Jurkovic and Zay Flowers. Zay had 75 yards and really one big catch for 30. It was a catch and run that he had. Other than that, he was kind of held in check, as in check as you can say, with still getting 75 yards. But BC had no run game. That offensive line, as you said, Marty, was not good. DJ was a little slow. He kind of showed some chinks in the armor after a couple great weeks, but they got going. I love the deep balls down the sideline. One thing that I kind of didn't like was the lack of use of the tight end. However, rumor has it that they were holding some stuff for Florida State. Who knows how true that is? Coaches will never say that. But all in all, 31-3. How can you complain?
Yeah, DJ had a bad interception, which kind of looked like last
Back
year.
foot.
Yeah, thrown to a spot that nobody was there except for a Boston College defender. Yeah, wasn't pretty. Zach, did you get your eyes on this game at all?
Yeah, I watched a good bit of it. It, as expected, trailed off in the second half for sure. But I think you sum it up the best on the outline. BC sucks. How about that? But there's not a lot of offense out of them at all. Not even many opportunities. It felt like so. But it was still fun to watch. They spread the ball around pretty well too. We had 6 receivers for double-digit yardage. That's pretty good. So spreading the wealth, keeping everybody happy. But yeah, we were kind of regressing the tight end throws. I noticed that the last couple of weeks it picked up and it slowed down. But all in all, I mean, good performance. What do you do? It's an away game too. Don't forget, and that's kind of been a rough patch. Casey's said it a few times before. Hates going up there, so it's good to get out with a win, get back home. Actually, I'm sorry, go back down to Florida State right after this, and then another tough game coming up, and because Florida State should have won the game that they played this past week. Boy, oh boy. So they're going to be ready for us to come down there. It'll be a fun contest, I think, to see this weekend.
Yeah, I thought there was a couple of things going, not against Clemson necessarily, but just were a little tougher last week. Obviously, the 2 emotional games with Wake and NC State's always physical.
Right.
Clemson was still beating up on the defensive side. The red bandana game's always emotional. The fans were into it for whatever that's worth at Boston College. So yeah, I kind of expected it. I think on Roman the Rock, I predicted 31-10. So I was kind of right in the ballpark, but I didn't, plan on having 10 points at halftime. So anyway, I kind of saw it starting out fast and then slowing down at the end. But neither here nor there. Now, Zach, I know you got eyes on this next game you want to talk about. Alabama and Texas A&M came down to the last play of the game, which was not a great play. The receiver wasn't even in the end zone, was he?
2 yards.
Yeah.
Just awful. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it just Johnny Manziel came out of the woodwork and called out A&M about it. I mean, it was just a bad call, man. I mean, you got to get something running across. Why? There's no time left. Why are you even trying to throw it and out there? It was disappointing. They had an opportunity, man. They would have been ranked 24th if they had won. But you had your shot and you blew it. It would have been great, 2 years running, but Alabama survives. What do you do?
So here's the thing. Even if he was called for interference, they'd have to run another play from the team, right?
Yeah.
it was just so horrible. And if he catches it, the game's over, basically. So
that's right.
Just so weird. Beef, what'd you think about this game?
Yeah, it's just so interesting that Jimbo's seen as this offensive guru, yet when it comes down to it, and he needs a big play to win a game and shock the world, he can't do it. He kind of falls flat. This isn't the first time this has happened.
Yeah.
He got my word of the day. He got lauded last year big time after he beat Alabama on a couple really nice plays. Probably don't say it out loud, but lucky. But he had the opportunity again to shock the world. Kind of has the ingredients on how to play tough with Alabama, and he just didn't do it. And unfortunately, there's no moral victories in this sport. A loss is a loss. They're still on their way to their 4-loss season, and Alabama's still ranked number 1.
Yeah, I wonder if Alabama is vulnerable, though. That Texas A&M team's not very good, and they almost beat them. Of course, Alabama's playing with their backup quarterback, so that obviously could make a difference when the Heisman winner is not not in the game. And speaking of quarterbacks not in the game, it's not on our outline, but I think Brent Venables needs a booty call this weekend. We'll get to that game because I think, Zach, you picked it, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get to that game in a minute. But, wow, what a complete and utter disaster for Oklahoma when their 6'12" quarterback who could not do anything. Shutout. First time in 311 games, Oklahoma was shut out. Crazy. KC, has BGB gotten off the ledge yet? Or
This game was hard to watch. And in fact, I turned it off. I usually get excited about these rivalries, especially that game early, because it usually provides some craziness, some crazy plays, some crazy comebacks, some crazy something. But man, there was no crazy. The only crazy thing was wondering where the heck Oklahoma was. So yeah, it wasn't a lot of fun to watch, and quite honestly, I turned it off early and never really turned it back on.
I watched it like a car wreck. Texas looked really good, but how bad is Oklahoma, right? I mean,
true, but I mean, give a little credit to
Quinn was good.
them. Yeah, you were the real deal. I don't know.
He's a good player.
Yeah, so
Well,
he has had a small sample size, but what he's had has been pretty sweet.
They look really good with him at quarterback. But we'll see. Tennessee crushed LSU. Southern Cal and UCLA are still undefeated, fellas. Casey mentioned NC State beat Florida State win, but Devin Leary is hurt, and when he went out, they didn't throw another pass. They threw one pass, and it was our guy that called all the passes against Clemson that threw the pass. And here's one for you for a couple of weeks to file away. Notre Dame looks a lot better these days. Yes. Shout out to friend of the show, Pauk. Casey, your take on all of that, or whatever you want to talk about there?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Tennessee game. They're getting a lot of love nationally and on cue because was it third Saturday in October? Yeah, where are they playing? They got Alabama. Supposedly Bryce Young won't play again this week, but it's hard to feel sorry for Alabama. But at least they'll have their excuse ready to go. But that's a good game. LSU is not good, so it was another one of those things like Texas, Oklahoma. Is Tennessee really that good, or is LSU just not good this year? I have a hard time with Hendon Hooker being the Heisman front runner or in the upper tier of the Heisman because of my last recollection of him at Virginia Tech was dropping 4 snaps and fumbling and then shaking violently on the sideline. So I just don't know how he goes from middling ACC quarterback to one of the best quarterbacks in the country. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's warmer in Tennessee.
I got 3 words for you, Casey. SEC.
It just means more there.
Obviously. Locks, what's your takeaway from these games, whichever ones you want to talk about?
Well, 2 things. Notre Dame, we're happy that Notre Dame's doing, the upward crawl before, Clemson gets to play them, obviously. I watched the UCLA game because I had a pick on it. They're fun to watch, man. I don't know if you guys scoped them out at all, but Chip Kelly is back, baby. He's got some toys to play with. He's got some weapons. His quarterback's as bad as they come. And I've said it last week. This dude, Zach Charbonnet, 22 carries for 198 yards. That's pretty legit. So it's fun to watch. They're like a track meet, like a Big 12 track meet every time they come out. But we'll see how long they stay undefeated. But they got a chance to be a big matchup there at the end of the year versus USC. It'd be a fun one.
Nice. I'd be interested. Maybe I need to. Are they off this week?
They might be actually. Let me look here. I think they are off. Yeah, okay. But yeah, they're fun to watch, man. No doubt.
I'll get some eyes on the next game out. Okay, this week Clemson started out, as we'll find out in my picks, as a 7.5-point favorite. I jumped on that like the idiot I am. Like 5-13-2 or whatever. I don't even know my record. 5-11-2 record that I have. I jumped on 7-5 and went down to 6-5 within an hour. And today, it's 3.5 points. Now, John Chansey wrote about this on rubbingtherock.com, why the point spread's dropping. I don't know. Locks, what is your takeaway? Why is the point spread down four points since Sunday afternoon?
I was shocked. I saw it go down to 6.5, like you said. And I said, well, that's probably where it'll end up, maybe down to 6. But 3.5, when I flipped it back, I think it was 24 hours later, I was like, what in the world? Who just laid the lumber here on this line and to change it that much? And I was checking for injuries. I didn't see anything, that stood out. I mean, I don't know. I don't have an explanation for it. I didn't read Chancey's article. I apologize. But I mean, anything you guys have to fill in, just let me know, because I think it's crazy. I think it still should be like I said, about a 6-point line.
Yeah, and Nelson says C.J. Stroud still a Heisman favorite. DTR and Hooker will fade in due time. Probably true, Nelson. Probably true. I don't know. It seems weird to me because the Clemson defense is getting healthier, right? Brazil's going to be back. Some of the guys on the back end, Sheridan Jones is scheduled to be back.
Sorry, Chancey.
I'm not sure what's going on. And he's the only one, John. Everybody else in the world just Locks. He doesn't read. He's been on the same book for 6 years.
I kind of skim in front of me.
Beef, what's your take on this point spread going down? I mean, I know you've read Chancey's article. You told me 4 times, I think. You read it?
I didn't read it because I was traveling across the state today, but I have a lot of time here at the hotel by myself, so I'm going to definitely have some late night John Chancey reading. No question about that. So as far as the point spread moving down, I don't get it, because normally what happens is Vegas wants to end up with like a 50-50 split as far as money goes. So I just don't know why, outside of an injury that they know about that nobody else in the country knows about, I don't know why the move was so fast.
Mm-hmm.
So unless some sharp came and laid a whole bunch of money, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
This is exactly what we saw last week with the Kentucky quarterback going out.
It happened again.
3.5, 4 points.
It happened with Mississippi State and Kentucky as well. It opened at 7,
and
now today it's at 4.
Oh,
so
so is Levis out again? Idea. I mean, I don't even know. It's just crazy to me.
No, it seems like and it's one of my picks later, but Mississippi State is the favorite by 7, and it opened at Mississippi State -7. Now it's Mississippi State -4, which leads me to believe that Levis may be playing to move it.
Change it.
3 points is a lot for it to move 3.5 points for Clemson is huge.
Right off the open too is crazy. Yeah, who knows? Let's prove them wrong.
Unless it was a mistake that they opened it as a mistake and caught it. But how many times has Vegas ever done that?
They don't make mistakes like that.
They don't, right?
No.
We've got homework for both of these young men. I read Chancey's article, by the way. Had to.
Spoiler alert.
Editor.
I read it. I'm not going to spoil it. Okay, this week we talked about Clemson at Florida State, but some really good games. On paper or on the screen, looks like perhaps the best week of the season. We have Penn State at Michigan in a battle of undefeated. Kansas at Oklahoma. Kansas could beat Oklahoma. Though, interesting report today. Somebody reported that the Kansas quarterback was out for the year, and then he subtweeted and said, "Really? Oh, well, I didn't know that." He didn't even know he was out for the year. Alabama at Tennessee, another battle of undefeateds there. Zach will be watching that game 2 inches from the screen. Oklahoma State at TCU. Zach and I are going head-to-head on this one this week. North Carolina State at Syracuse. Now, humble brag here, did a little interview yesterday with the Syracuse radio station guy. Who was very young, he had a radio voice for sure. But they're already talking about Clemson and Syracuse playing. They're not even talking about this week.
Oh boy.
Some of that's the production thing, right? It's going to be a produced little piece where he cuts my words and splices them into something, but we'll find out what that is. But anyway, the point is they're talking about Syracuse and Clemson in 2 weeks and being undefeated, and they got NC State this week. And out on the West Coast, Casey's favorite team to put in his pick, Southern California and Utah play this week. Not undefeated Utah, but still a good team at Utah. Beef, any of those games interest you? I know Alabama and Tennessee does, but give me your thoughts.
Yeah, Alabama, Tennessee is very intriguing. I really like the Kansas at Oklahoma game as well because even with the backup quarterback, we'll see. Is this a big test for Oklahoma? Texas lost to Kansas last year, so maybe it's Oklahoma's turn for Texas fans to turn the tables on their rivals. And of course, NC State, Syracuse. I watch a lot of the ACC games. This is definitely going to be a game I'm going to be tuned into, and I do like Lincoln Riley and USC. So that's going to be a fun one out west with my Pac-12 champion pick Utah and my darlings USC playing each other. Should be a fun weekend.
No doubt. Okay, I know, Zach, I know you're going to be watching Alabama, Tennessee. I think all of us will be watching that. What else you got either on that game or any of these other games?
Well, I'm just by looking at just the lineup you wrote down there, I'm watching overs. There's going to be a lot of points scored this weekend. Mark my words. No defense. These are all going to be teams going at each other's throat. But the Penn State-Michigan game, that's sneaky. I mean, that's number 10 versus number 5. Michigan can make a little statement there. You know, they'll be competing again to get back in the top 4. They got knocked down to 5 after Clemson jumping this week. But Penn State's not a bad team either. So being at Michigan, I think that's a big favor for the Blue right there. So it'll be a fun one to watch, even though it is Big Ten football. I'm sure it's at noon.
It is noon. It's a nooner. It's a big noon.
The big nooner.
It's the big nooner, and I've got a pick on that game coming up. All right, here we go, fellas. This time. Don't think you could have done any worse if you tried.
Well, I take that as a victory.
These guys are doing research, so why should I? Beef, you stink the most.
A true believer in what they're doing in North Carolina. That's why I'm picking Virginia Tech, Tennessee.
I love Spencer Rattler.
I agree with Marty.
I don't like this.
Look, you smell it, the backdoor cover.
I do not like this. I am 5-11-2. I can't pick anything. I was telling Beef before Locks jumped on that I hate every pick. I can't find a game. I pick a game thinking the point spread's going to go one way, it goes the other. I'm kind of having a year like the Oklahoma Sooners. I need some of this booty call here. I need something to break loose this week. And as Locks talked about, noon game on Saturday. I've got $600 and a whole $80 to play with. I did some accounting. I think it should be $681, but I'm going with Locks. Penn State is traveling to the Big House, as Locks talked about just a minute ago. 7.5 was the spread that I got it at. I'm going to take Penn State plus 7.5 here. 680 doesn't divide by 3 very easily, at least not in my head. So I'm going to go for 150 Sluggo bucks, Penn State plus 7.5. I don't know if they can win, but I'm hoping for the hook. I'm hoping for anything, to tell you the truth. I'm just hoping for a win. But I think Michigan's overrated. That's my takeaway from this. Michigan is overrated, and we're going to find that out this week. Casey, to be Coogan.
My first one, I'll go out west. My darling Southern Cal is 3-point underdogs at Utah. That 3 points generally in football is what is generally given to the home team. So this kind of feels like Utah's getting those 3 there, and it's almost a pick 'em. I just like Southern Cal's offense. I really don't know what they have on defense. Utah, of course, the one game that I've watched very closely was against Florida, and they didn't look great. Didn't look bad, but they didn't look great. Just seeing the trajectory of both of those teams. Long-winded word salad to say Southern Cal plus 3, 409 Sluggo bucks and 9 cents.
So you're feeling that confident, huh?
409.09. Well, you know that I have 58.18 if you can do the math. So
come get me. Come on. Let's do some betting. You're
next week
10,000 behind guy. Come on.
Next week.
Zach,
if I go
3-0 again.
He's like the race car driver that's in third place and he's waiting for the big crash ahead of him.
Yeah.
He's waiting for the guy in front to crash. So funny.
The name fits tonight. The shirt fits.
I see.
Probably should wear that every week.
Well, if you saw my picks, you know that I'm not going to lose a ton of money this week. I have doctored up a little underdog special for all three of my picks, and I'm going to start with Oklahoma State money line getting plus 158. So it's it's not that outlandish to see Oklahoma State win this game over TCU. TCU is a 4-point favorite. I like I said earlier, I think all these games are going to be up and down scoring, track meet, whoever holds the ball last. I honestly haven't really watched either of these teams that much this year, so I'm looking forward to maybe tuning in this one. Spencer Sanders, everybody knows him. He's playing great this year so far. So, but two very evenly matched teams. I expect it to go down to the wire. So, put me down for $450 money line on Oklahoma State.
Come down to us. Come down to us.
Hey,
come on.
450 loss, but pretty good game here.
450, and that's plus 158. So you'll have a wild number if you win that one. It'll be almost.
We'll figure it out. We got the betting calculators.
You got the betting calculator, and I was telling B before you jumped on. I'm so happy you have the calculator.
I love it. Now that you taught me how to use it.
I'm so happy you have the calculator, and I let Prize Picks do it for me. That's even happier on the other side. Okay, pick number 2. That same game, Texas TCU. I got lucky here. I've only got them at -1, so they just have to win the game. Last week, that's what I said about Kansas State. -2, just got to win by field goal. No problem. What could go wrong? They won by 1. So
7-9, something.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I was disgusted though. So how much did I bet on the first one? 100 or 150?
150.
150. Oh, that puts me in a crunch here.
That's not good.
Texas Christian -1, and I think I couldn't even get 110 on this. It's 115.
I saw that too.
I'm going to bet 115 on this one, hoping to get 100 back. TCU -1 for 115. Well, time's up. The dinner's ready.
Turkey's done.
Pick.
My second pick, I'll stay with the ACC. NC State is 3.5-point underdogs traveling to Syracuse. Syracuse did have a bye week. I'm thinking that's where this line came from. I don't know. I still think NC maybe, but I still think NC State's good enough to win this game with Thayer Thomas, Devin Carter, and everybody else that they have, and that defense is going to keep them in it. I'm still not sold on Syracuse. Garrett Schrader is getting a lot of love. Sean Tucker's getting a ton of love at running back. Their defense is pretty good. I am sold on the defense. I'm just not sold on the offense. They're really kind of one-dimensional, and they have the occasional throw to Rondé Gadsden. Other than that, I just think NC State's the better team. I'm going NC State plus 3.5, 409.09. I have one more pick. Maybe I'm going huge on it.
Maybe,
but I doubt it.
Doubtful.
Yeah.
All right, Locks, your second pick.
Okay. Well, the next one will be Kansas. Missing them by a week. But I mean, look who they're playing. Oklahoma. They've lost 3 in a row. What's wrong with 4? So Kansas money line plus 222. Oklahoma is only favored by 9. Read that Jalen Daniels is doubtful. But the other kid they put in, what's his name? Jason Bean, started 10 games for him last year, and he, 4 touchdowns in relief last week. I know, like Marty said, he did start 10 games last year. They went 1-11 with him. So that doesn't bode well.
Reason he's not starting this year.
Yeah, there's a reason. But hey, he looked pretty decent just in the highlights. But Oklahoma, lost 3 straight, first time since 1998. On the graphic you sent. Last time they lost back-to-back by 30-plus. It was the first time ever. I mean, what's the stat going to be when they lose 4 in a row? Just because I picked it. $300 for me, please, on this one. Kansas. Go Jayhawks. Rock Chalk.
Beef. He's got $15,000. This is like Jed Clampett eating chitlins for dinner.
The value for the victories, though, is fantastic.
Right. If you go 1,000, then you get 20-something hundred.
But they're underdogs that are probably all going to lose.
Oh my goodness. Nelson says Locks needs a Big 12 shirt. to wear with these picks. He'd have to wear it under his SEC shirt. All right, pick number 3. I have no confidence in my first 2 picks. I got some confidence in this. Still waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm taking Clemson minus 7.5. But as my luck rolls, it's all the way down to 3.5 now. But I get it at 7.5. I'm still confident. I don't know what shoe is about to drop, who's injured, who's not playing, or if Jameis is going back to get his master's degree and is playing on Saturday. I don't know. But I think Clemson's the better team. I was looking at our friend J.P. Priester's analysis today of the position by position. Every one of them favored Clemson or was even, except for the defensive backfield. We know why that is. It's still somewhat the walking wounded back there. But Sheridan Jones is coming back. Brian Brzee is coming back. I'm missing it. I don't understand it. I'm taking Clemson minus 7.5, and I'm going to go 220 slow-go bucks on this one. Clemson minus 7.5 for 220. Beef, your third and final pick.
The old adage, put your money where your mouth is. I think I should say put your mouth where your money is. So this time I'm going Mississippi State minus 7 versus Kentucky. Just got word from our sources, producer in my ear, saying Will Levis is expected to play this weekend. However, I just love Will Rogers. I think Will Rogers is probably the best quarterback in the country that you've never heard of. And Dylan Johnson is a running back that is just a little ball of fire. He's wonderful. They got some dogs. They had 11 players last week record a catch. So Mike Leach is crazy. And their defense is playing better as well. So I just like them a lot in that slow down Kentucky offense. They're going to have to slow Mississippi State down because that offense is firepower. I got it at 7. It's now minus 4, as said earlier. Therefore, 250 sluggo bucks.
Mike Leach has been crazy before the last 2 weeks, Beef.
Yeah.
How much?
Hey,
How much?
250.
250. What's the over under going to be for Will Rogers' negative rushing yards this week? Every week it's like -7, -11,
-6,
and he
-7.
always goes more.
Less.
Yeah.
We'll find out on Saturday when Casey does a 18-player parlay.
Yeah.
I will.
And that's
they
the
limit
linchpin
me at
right
5. You think I haven't tried this? They limit me at 5.
Does Casey have insider information on Devin Leary too? Trying to understand that second.
No.
What I heard from Devin Leary came from Dave Doran, who was clear as mud. He said he's day-to-day. It could be this week or it could be 6 weeks. So who knows, really. Locks, your third and final pick.
I'm going with the game of the week. Last money line of the week also. Tennessee plus 250. I mean, everybody's calling for the victory here. They're at home. They got a lot going for them. We got Hendon Hooker. He won't be freezing cold. Bryce Young practicing with the team is the last I heard. So that means he's playing probably, whatever. They're going to need Bryce Young, I think, big time in this game. UT is going to be foaming at the mouth. I'm hoping they can pull this thing off. I don't know if they will. I hope this is like that Big 12 matchup earlier, like a last possession game. It'd be fun to see. But, Bama about got worked by Texas earlier this year on the road. We'll see what happens. I was going to bet less, but Casey goaded me into it. I'll put $500 on this one at plus 250. That's a solid payday.
Good payday.
Maybe it'll happen.
Okay, Jed Clampett, that's 2 chitlins. 2 chitlins. Okay, let me see if I can get this right here.
Good payday.
And, while I'm trying to get it right.
If you win all of them, you're just running away and hiding.
Okay, Marty has Penn State minus 7.5 for 150, TCU minus 1 for 115, and Clemson minus 7.5 for 220 sluggo bucks. 409 Beef from the 409 area code has Southern Cal plus 3 for 409.09, NC State plus 3.5 for 409.09. And Mississippi State minus 7 for 250. Locks has where is Locks? Oklahoma. These are all money lines for Locks. Oklahoma State plus 158 for 450. Kansas plus 222 for 300. And Tennessee plus 250 for 500. Locks. Did I get all that right?
Yep.
Cool.
Nailed it.
First time all year. Guys, I appreciate it. I hope I get a win this week. I know I'm embarrassing us because between the two of you, you're 500, and it'd be nice if I was somewhere near 500. But I'm not, and I won't be for several weeks. But it's coming, fellas. It's coming. The good news is the actual money we play with on Prize Picks, $16 a night. I'm getting rich slow. No, my brain's got ready now. I got three picks tonight, fellas. All revolve around the Phillies pitcher getting 5 strikeouts. So let's hope for that. Let's hope for that. Get off to a good start. I enjoy even losing to you guys, but I'd much rather win. Casey, tell the people thanks, and let's get out of here.
You know it's bad on Prize Picks when you parlay 2 baseball pitchers and 3 hockey players. I have a problem. Thanks to everyone in the Seldom News Reserve College Football Facebook group, especially Nelson Wilhite for all his help. Actually caught a typo of mine this morning. Thanks to John Chansey for being a good all-around guy. Uncle John McGee, as always. Thanks to all who follow us here on Sluggo and all who listen, like, share, and participate. On behalf of Zach Locke Parker, Marty Seldom News Reserve Coleman, I am Casey the Beef Cregan. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We'll see you right back here next week on Sluggo. And don't forget to check us out at rubbingtherock.com.
Yeah, Locks, don't forget to check us out.
Especially John Chansey.
Good luck, Beef. I hope you go 5-0 again.
I think we're done here.